What's up, everybody? T3 here, the Digi Natural Nomad. If 2 weeks ago you had told me that I would be adding podcaster to my list of things that I need to worry about on a daily basis, I probably would have ran away screaming mad. But yeah, something just feels right about it. So I've decided to roll with it. And for this episode number 4, I am super honored to have one of my greatest mentors in life and a damn good friend, legendary multi Grammy award winning bass player, Mr. Victor Wooten. Victor has been a staple of my life ever since I was 7 years old. And, I've seen him play live many a time and was always amazed at the level at which he operates. It was something I always sought. And it wasn't until recently that I learned how to adapt it into my own being. But enough for me talking. Ladies and gentlemen, Victor Root. Well, what's up, my brother, Mr. Victor Root?
Oh, it's good to see you.
Oh, good to see you, bro. Today is a very special day because I reached out to Victor, a longtime family friend and mentor, especially in these latter few years as I've gone through my own personal struggles. I have to say, first and foremost, that when I left working for my father at his behest, there were several traps he made me aware of. One was the money trap, how to manage money. Uh, Two was emotional intelligence, not having to wall yourself off, which goes into number 3, and that's dealing with the fame aspect of it. And one thing that always amazed me about you is whether we'd be at a music festival or a show like this, you would on stage for 2, 3 hours pour every ounce of your being into every note, and then take time afterwards to meet and talk with every single person.
Sure.
And it's not just like a BS, oh, hey, how you doing? You genuinely, like, I've watched you in awe, like, make genuine eye contact and recognize them as equal soul to yours.
Sure.
And say, I'm no more, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And my father was afraid of being seen as a human being. And a lot of that was due to the fault of his publishers. So I want to thank you for my observation of you over I remember it starting back in Illinois, and I'm like, how the hell does he have an energy to like put energy into one more dude's crystal that walks up to him, asking him to put energy in it. And that has just always stuck with me. And that's why I can now draw energy from the fact that I have close relationships with my students. They'll have my phone number and everything like that. Just because I want to be accessible, for their needs. I wonder if you had anything you want to say about that.
Well,
I think you addressed it in one of your TED Talks as well.
Maybe so. But you described it perfectly. It lets me know you know exactly what it is. But fame comes from other people.
Yeah.
Right? That's what comes from other people. Being a teacher comes from having students. So in my opinion, it's probably at best an equal relationship.
Yeah.
But I look at it more, my fame is more because of people, not me. They make me, because the thing is, Tommy, I would be doing what I do, playing music, without people listening.
Yeah.
But because people listen, pay to come hear me play, they give me the career. So they're the ones that give me the fame, the awards, and things like that. So it seems like I owe them more than they owe me.
Exactly.
Because I'd be doing it anyway. So if they'll give me their time, I'll give them mine. That's what gives me this career. We're talking about my kids a minute ago. I got 4 kids that I'm putting through college by playing bass.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it without people.
Yeah.
So if they give me their time, I'm giving
That's been
them my time.
One of my biggest struggles is, very rarely do I pull the dad card name, but, I have been learning these skills my entire life. I have a picture of me teaching when I was 7.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been teaching for 26 years. And just in this new age of pay to play, uh, getting my name out there above all the static, especially what's going on with these ridiculous shows that are based on adversarial relationships with nature.
What do you mean?
It's
What shows?
like Alone and
Oh,
Naked
gotcha.
and
TV
Afraid.
show. Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, some guy who's into the outdoors who has money says, "Oh, I'm going to start an outdoor school," because they can pay 25 grand a quarter for marketing. They're automatically going to get seen way before me,
Sure.
even having my father's name.
Yeah.
So that's why I treat, every student I get and I have that I've essentially built from a grassroots level combined with, the worldwide community my father created. So yeah, it's been weird for me. I When I first left tracker school in 2009, I had a 6 month waiting list. I mean, I taught classes in 30 states in 2 years. I was making so much money, I didn't know what to do with it. So I gave it all up to take 30 grand a year to start a nonprofit in Virginia, which led me to Oregon, which led me to losing my life savings in the last 4 years that I've just came out of, and I'm now back to myself again. Although I need to add a little more pounds to me. Lyme's disease is not kind to some of us, but part of the reason I'm doing this podcast and this documentary trip about telling the story of how my father changed the world. One thing that always blew my mind about tracker school and was kind of the hidden lessons is that nature is the great equalizer, right? Nature doesn't give a fuck if you, pardon my French, so it's explicit, doesn't care how much money you make, doesn't care the color of your skin, who you want to, make love to. Uh, Nature's nature. There's no right and wrong in nature. There's human creations. Funny enough, at the last place I worked for summer training, we had staff shirts that just said "Nature doesn't give a fuck" on the back of it. So I love that you get 100 people at a tracker school class, and people who would never ever come into contact with each other in the real world. I remember one night I tell the story often, but it's like a U.S. senator, a dump truck driver, a B-list Hollywood actor, and a nurse all having conversation as peers, as equals, whereas in the real world, they most likely wouldn't come into contact with each other, but they wouldn't have that reasoning.
I mean, it depends on what we call the real world. But
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I mean,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
virtual reality or real virtuality.
I know
I
what
mean,
you're saying.
I love the irony that I'm using high technology to try to lead people away from it and back into nature. Or if you're going to use these tools, use them for good. I mean, the internet, the length and breadth of the human experience, is stored there. And yet, what most people do with the internet? They look at filthy images, or they buy things, or they become envious of curated social media lives. And I've been accused of wearing my heart on my sleeve and, whining on some video. And I'm like, look, just how I'm feeling that way. I'm not going to, say everything's roses when it's not, and I was taught from a very early age that you relied on the community. God, they say 100 and 200,000 years ago, I think Homo sapiens got wiped out to nearly 150,000 individuals. So everybody alive today essentially is born of the best of the best. Here we are in this modern age with all this fancy stuff, and I feel like we're rapidly just dropping off the hill.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, and I don't. I don't ascribe to that mentality. I'm not saying that anybody's wrong and I'm right.
Yeah,
I just don't see it that way.
yeah,
Because you just saw us play.
yeah,
There was nothing harmful, hurtful about any of that. That's the world
yeah,
I see.
exactly. And
That's the world I see. And to me, that's the real world. My dad fought in the Korean War for a country that was not fighting back for him.
Mhm.
When I was born, my mama couldn't vote. Now, the law said she could, but people said she couldn't. But the fact that you and I can sit here pretty much in public with no fear of having to hold our tongue. We can say whatever. I can even go online and post all my hatred without fear.
Yeah.
One generation ago, meaning my parents, could not do that. So to say we're going backwards,
Yeah.
we are not.
Well, I mean, technology backwards. I mean, mentally backwards.
Technology is moving forward. It just depends on how we use it
Yeah.
that can make it seem backwards.
Yeah.
The fact that we can sit here without a big TV studio and we could be live.
Oh, I could be live streaming.
We are moving
forward right there.
We are moving forward. We have to remember that a pendulum doesn't swing and stop in the middle where you want it.
Yeah.
But what my parents went through, we're not going through. What my parents were going through, we're definitely not going through. So if we think about all of our ancestors, who many had to come over on boats or walk a whole continent or whatever, we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with easily fixable situations. And from what I see, and I get to travel the world, and I'll shut up in a minute. I'm fortunate enough to get to travel the world. And when I travel the world, I meet incredible people. Of course, you meet a few that say, okay, that's not who I want to be. But how can you be who you want to be without who you don't want to be existing too?
Exactly.
So I don't curse that person. I thank him for showing me how not to be. But I see people like we just saw at the concert. At this concert, no one thought about who voted for who. I didn't say, what, before I sit down, tell me who you voted for. Who do you pray to? How much money do you make? Are you against? That never happens at a concert. Yeah. To me, this is who people really are. But the people running the country are just a small few people who have different ideas. They control what goes on TV, what is in video games, what's in public. And so we think that's what life is. I don't. No. I go by what I see, and what I see are beautiful people all around the world. Now, there are knuckleheads out there. But again, on earth, without the opposite, you can't even be who you want to be. You want to be a teacher, you need students. Yeah. Right? But my job is to not curse who other people is. Exactly. It's to be the example of who I would like them to be. Exactly. All right? So, but my world is a beautiful world. There are things I would like to see change, and I'm doing my best to be the example of how it should change. But it's a beautiful world that we live in.
And that's why, when my father and I came up with the decision of me leaving, because you saw me falling victim to the ego trap. Mm-hmm. And, one other thing he stressed was how upset he was, how right around the internet age time, 2006, people all of a sudden stopped wanting skills classes and the philosophy stuff with 150 people. And yet, winter class, we every 4 years, we would normally cap at 100, and it would fill within days. I think the last one I was around for, we had like 30 people. Mm-hmm. People just stopped wanting to do the physical skills. And I remember him pacing in his hotel room saying, people just don't understand. You can't have the whole picture if you don't have the connection with the physical skills and then apply the philosophy. Yeah. It's like, like playing a video game version of a guitar simulator, like actually playing guitar, which leads me to patterns, the space in between notes. Like when I track animals, I'm not so much following the animal's tracks. I'm following the stuff that's not in between the animal. Sure. Yeah. I almost see it.
Well, yeah, but you can't have one without the other. Yeah. So for me, it's both. When I can remember my first tracker class, and learning about tracks, and what made me understand it was when I started seeing the tracks as musical notes, which is what I already knew. Yeah. So I was able to relate the tracks to something that I already knew, and it probably deepened my love for tracking. That's why I still love it today. One of my favorite things to do is to get out and do tracking.
Your book, The Music Lesson, is still one of mine, like top 5 favorite books.
Thank you. It's partly because of your father's book, The Tracker, that got me to write that
Well,
book.
as soon as he got to the line where he says, you know, at one time I was this and one time I was in a patch, I was like, oh shit, this is his tracker. This is Obis' tracker.
That was my tip of the hat to your dad.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
one of the, no matter what class you take with me, I have a reading list that I put in my Google Drive, and that book is on there. And now I still haven't gotten two yet. Um, there's two,
The
right?
second book?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, called The Spirit of Music.
Yeah. And have
Yeah.
you written another book besides that?
No, just those two. Just those
So,
two.
what's your musical future look like? Or maybe
Yeah,
Flecktone's a thing again?
yeah. The Flecktones are where we will do a holiday tour. We're in 2025 right now. We'll do a holiday tour in November and December, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the next big thing that I'm really doing is finally, after 40 years, doing another record with my brothers. Four of us. We lost one of our brothers in 2010, Rudy, saxophone player. But the four of us are getting together, and we're in recording right now, and it's almost done. And we'll release that in 26 and do a lot of touring. We'll be touring in Europe
I'll tell
this
you
November.
what, if you ever need a photographer for one of your tours,
Yeah.
it's like one of my dreams
Oh,
to
yeah.
do
Yeah.
is to photograph and video.
Yeah. It can happen. It can happen. A lot of bands out there. That's the thing these days. Bands want to document because social media is so
And
powerful. So we need photos,
that's
videos,
all
stuff like that.
what I've spent the last 4 years doing, other than making a whole shit ton of mistakes, is learning the valuable stuff.
Yeah.
So that now, just this week, I'm literally getting a fresh start because I came to an agreement with a gentleman who is going to pay me for my time for caretaking the Tracker Sacred items, the first edition books. I'm going to turn them over to Rick Barry,
Nice.
and I'm being paid for my time. And that money is going to basically pay off my website for a year. I'm getting equal payments over 5 months, but my living expenses are only going to be my car payment and fuel.
Yeah.
So I can finally put these ideas, I can bring them to fruition. That's bringing the skills to the people, going to under-natured areas, and just for once in 26 years, not being bound to a specific spot,
Mm-hmm.
and just being able to wake up and say, hey, Eurovision, where are we going today?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like ever since I adopted today's the first day of the rest of my life mantra. It's the first thing I say out loud every morning. It's been magical change.
That's the thing is life is trying its best to work for us. And in many cases, if not every case, it's us that's in the way.
Yeah.
It's not life or the universe or God or whatever people want to call it. It's if things aren't going right for us, we should look inward. We should look inward at all times. And
Forever.
and one of the things I have learned is to do my best. And if I have an idea, go for that idea, even if I don't know how it's going to come to fruition.
Yep.
Because not all things in life take money.
Yeah.
We think they do.
Oh, no.
Not all things don't. And in many cases, we can have such a strong vision of an idea that's going to help the world. And if it's really going to help the world, not just me, then the world is going to help me achieve it.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things, like with my own camp, it happened that way.
Yeah.
Because the vision was right. I had no idea where we were going to get land, how to run a camp or whatever. Took a lot from your dad. Took a lot from a couple other camps that I had visited.
Richard Cleveland.
Richard Cleveland's still doing stuff. But there was there were a few other people who were running camps in the late '90s, and of course your dad's throughout the whole '90s when I was there.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew that the vision was pure. I wasn't trying to make myself famous.
Yep.
It's a non-for-profit, so I'm not trying to make money from it. I'm not taking money. And the whole thing, the camp seemed to build itself. And people from around the world have come. I guess the main thing I'm just trying to say is have as pure as we can visions that are going to help people, not just me.
Yep. Purpose beyond self.
Yeah.
I found that since I've switched to that mentality of every day I leave the house, I put on the caretaker suit, and in all my works, I try to be as selfless as possible. And it's led me to such wonderful stories and experiences like this right here. And we're seeing you guys in February, and just all these random occurrences. You talk about fighting our own reflection. The thing that started this all off for me, May of last year, was the red-winged blackbird fighting its own reflection as it was trying to drink water. And saw another male red-winged blackbird. Like, you dumbass, you're fighting yourself. And then all of a sudden, I was in pitch black with Ralph Little Turtle and Sun Bear, and I had my first series of real visions, and they just keep coming. And now I just gotta coalesce them and offer them. That's why essentially all my work is pay what you will. Whether you can afford $1 million or no dollars, you're just as welcome.
Yeah.
And you'll get the same experience. Obviously it costs money to run a business. But I don't crave the finest things in life. I just want to have a working semi-modified vehicle. Got that.
Well, I do crave the finest things in life, but my version of what's the finest things are different than some people.
Of course.
And I think, and unfortunately for me, these are things that I learned very young from poor parents.
Yeah.
Poor with money, but rich with life and wisdom.
Well, that's why I always laugh at the WHO and the Global Bank, talk about people in poverty. I'm like, if you look at a lot of those peoples that we deem are in poverty, actually live far better lives than we do. They have communities.
Smart people.
They don't stick their elders away in a home where the source of all the knowledge. And we've skewed so far from that kind of small group living in close relationship to nature to scattered globally. And, I think our technology is kind of way out evolving our physical evolution. Because the phone right there, that phone was like Star Trek technology 50 years ago. You couldn't even, and it's the camera, just the camera alone.
Absolutely.
So to think what's going to be available in 10 years from now or 20 years from now is, I read an article last night that they've stopped aging in mice. And that brings up a whole other scary thing. And they're also talking about doing scary things like deleting mosquitoes and ticks by genetically altering one and releasing them in the wild so they can't breed. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. We go around snipping this web like we know what we're doing. It's like you kill all the mosquitoes and you kill off the hundreds of birds and bats and things that eat 8+ pounds of mosquitoes a night. And disease sucks, but living things are meant to die and return to the earth and be reborn. And we all can't live forever. And, it's that, I think that point in space and time when we lost our connection with death, when people didn't have backyard chickens that they were regularly lopping the heads off of, that people have started to just drift a little bit off course. And I just forever am trying to, in little ways, random acts, small random acts of kindness. Still pretty blown away that I've had 5 people say the exact same thing to me in the last few months, and that was, I didn't think people like you existed in the world. And at one minute, it makes me so happy, but then I get sad to think that that's just not commonplace. In Portland, where I was living, if you hold a door for somebody, they look like you spit in the face. And you slam. I'm like, how am I supposed to keep up with all these trends? I stopped looking at mainstream news like 4 years ago when I went into business for myself because I had no time to. I can feel the pain of the earth. I don't need to see representation. But yes, I do believe that music is one of those things that is capable of not only physically healing, uh, but is one of those great unifiers like nature, one of the great equalizers. Uh, and I think I was looking through my journals last night trying to calculate how many times I've seen you play live, and I'd say it's got to be over 75 at this point. And every time, you just pour everything you are into it.
Thank you.
And you're getting ready to go do it again. We'll probably keep
Yeah.
you from something, so I'll let you go.
Cool.
I want to thank you again
Hey,
for doing this.
thank you for making the
Yeah.
trip. I know you drove.
Oh no, I needed to. I needed the
Yeah.
the